Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Good morning, Danny. Who else is here? Bullish Bull is early, and it was an accident. KB is in the chat. Hidden is in the chat. I believe there are a few other people in the chat. Bitcoin Buyer is in the chat. Ahmed is in the chat. Good morning to you all. Africans, what's happening? Hopefully a good stream. We shall see, shan't we? Good morning to you all. It's 11 o'clock Central European time. I am Mike. It is the 10th of March. We're going to be talking about oil. We're going to be talking about the Iran problem. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin, the relief rally. We're going to be talking about many other things. We're going to look at the Bitcoin chart. We're going to have a look at the prices, everything you would expect from a show in 1 hour. And we've had an update. We have a load of new gadgets and gizmos arriving. We've got new lighting arriving to make me look less old. We have new microphones arriving to make me sound a lot sexier. And all of those things are just going to improve the stream. And they should be here, hopefully, within the next week or two. So hopefully this glare that I have off my massive forehead will be gone soon, because I'm going to get some diffused lighting. Now, we are going to be talking about some specifics today. I got a message off one of our OGs, Mags, today, asking about the Sonic stablecoin. And I had an article on that, which was USDD, I think it's called. And I swapped it out for an article about stablecoins versus CBDCs. So we are going to talk about the Sonic stablecoin in this stream as well. We're going to talk about yield farming. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we talked about profits. Not profits, the people that can predict the future. That's me. I'm talking about profits you make as a crypto project. We're going to have a look at the top revenue generating projects in crypto. I said yesterday, if you were going to redo the top 20 or 50 coins based on making money, which is what this game is all about, you look at the stock exchange, you look at Nvidia and Apple, you look at the companies at the top, what do they all do? They make the most money. Crypto doesn't work like that in the minute because it's still young. So I've got the list of top revenue generating projects. And in all honesty, if you were starting in crypto today, this is what you want to be looking at, in my humble opinion. So all of that in 1 hour. That's the challenge. We have a little clock in the top corner. You will see that I have moved to my mom's basement because Bitcoin is at $70,000. I was in a penthouse at $126,000. How I have fallen literally through the floors of a house to end up in the basement. So I suppose we should get on with the show. The question of the day, are we going to break $74,000? We're at 71. And it's just putting it out there. Last time we got to 74,000, what happened? We got rejected. Are we going to break $74,000 today? If not, when do you think we will break 74,000? Amit has said 74,000, but not today. Bitcoin Buyer has also said 74,000, but probably not today. Also, Bitcoin Buyer has pointed out that we can create a chat room on Binance Square, only for Crypto Warehouse viewers. And we're going to do it when we've got the option to do it. I tried to do it on Saturday. It wasn't available to me. I need to chase that up. I need to find out how and when we can do it. I don't know whether it's to do with the app version I've got. I don't know whether it's to do with a soft rollout. I have seen the chat room on other profiles, so I know it's available, but I don't know how to get hold of it yet. So I'm going to find that out. But anyway, we are going to go and look at some prices, and we are going to go and get excited because Bitcoin is, yes, above $71,000. I put a tweet out that I'm going to go through in a minute, and catastrophization, and I've been trying to learn that word because it's a very hard word to say. Catastrophization is what the media does, and you are the victims, bluntly. Whether it's Mario Narwhal or whatever he's called, whether it's Piers Morgan, whether it's Megyn Kelly, they catastrophize things. They give you the worst possible scenario. And I don't know why. Maybe it's to sell clicks, maybe it's to sell views, whatever it might be. But they never come to pass. We covered this yesterday when we were talking about the Russian invasion and oil, and that never came to pass. And, now we've had the situation where people are telling you that we're going to go to $300 a barrel and the world's going to end and all this kind of stuff. None of this is going to happen. None of it's going to happen. And if you listen to me on our streams, we will try and be the voice of reason, the voice of sensibility. That's what we're here for. You're never going to get a $500,000 prediction for Bitcoin on this channel. If you want that, go and watch somebody else and get disappointed watching them. We're going to try and be as sensible and real as possible on this channel. That's the point. That's the entire reason for starting this channel, was to not be like everybody else. Now, does that mean we're going to be as popular as everybody else? No, it doesn't. But that's not the point. The point is to have as much truth as we can on this channel. Now, Bitcoin, as I said, 71,000. Ethereum magically stayed above $2,000 yesterday, is now approaching $2,100. Now, the Oracle has told me where Ethereum is going to go in this relief rally. And I'm going to be honest, as I always am. I am selling my Ethereum on this relief rally. I'm going to sell about 2/3. If you watched me probably 4 or 5 weeks ago when Ethereum was at $3,000, I was just about to sell Ethereum and I hesitated and I went live and I did my stream, and then of course the entire world collapsed. I'm not going to make that second mistake a second time. So Ethereum, I'm going to sell and sit on the sidelines for a correction. I'm selling 2/3. I'm not selling my Bitcoin, I'm not selling anything else, but I am going to sell my Ethereum. BNB still ticking up, actually, nearly at $650. XRP, the stable coin. Why is XRP the stable coin? Because it's been 140 now forever. It's been every time we've done this stream, last Monday, last Tuesday, today, yesterday, it was 137, 138. It's now a stable coin, okay? But we're going to be talking about XRP later on. And for once, I'm on Brad's side. I believe in what Brad is going to talk about there. Now, Solana is starting to tickle the undercarriage of $90. This is bullish for Solana. Not bullish for my accumulation of Solana, because I can't now buy Solana below $70. That was my DCA strategy. Cardano is at 26.7 cents. It is starting to tick up. We're going to be talking about Cardano as well in a minute. Hype is at $35. I'm still convinced we're going to get our $22 to $24 target for Hype. Still think it's going to happen on the correction to the downside. Chainlink is over $9. It's actually at $911, and that's what you need to do to arrest the people not buying Chainlink. That is a $20 token every day of the week. And if we go and look at the gainers, I'm some massive gainers. As you'd expect, Dexy is up. I think that's a Dex. Stable is up. Hype is up. Kea. Jupiter is up. But listen, Jupiter, we're going to talk about them when we talk about profitable businesses. Jupiter is up there as one of the most profitable businesses and one of the most undervalued businesses in crypto. And you can tell me what you want about the tokenomics. You can tell me what you want about the team and Jupiter. It makes bags of cash. And that's all I care about. Pudgy Penguins is up. I think they released Pudgy Penguin World, I don't know. A theme park online, I imagine. Render is up, Stellar is up. A lot of gainers today. Losers, not too much to the downside. Humanity is there yet again. Trump is down. Tron is down a little bit, interestingly enough. Not much to write home about. We are going to skip on because yesterday I massively overran. And today, because when we have things to talk about, oil, Iran, things like that, we have a lot of tweets. That is not what I was going to. This is what I was going to. We're going to start off with some tweets. Let me know in chat, by the way. We have our next interview lined up. If you're an OG of the channel, I have told you who we're interviewing. And if you're not an OG, you're going to have to wait. The last interview was the biggest interview we've ever done. It was Ben Cowan of Into the Cryptoverse. Biggest interview we've ever done. This one is more trading related. And I've followed this guy now for 4 or 5 years. Not because I listen to anything he says in terms of the charts. Just the guy is very entertaining. I love the guy. I love watching him. I think he's brilliant. sings a few songs along the way as well, and we've got him on the channel. If you know who I'm talking about, then comment below. Now, Aon is one of the world's largest insurance brokers, managing risk for corporations across 120 countries, and they've just settled real insurance premiums in an industry-first pilot using PYUSD on Solana, stablecoin rails handling real institutional capital. A long time ago, in a different universe, sounds like a Star Wars scene this, I helped to build Aon's first online insurance product. Wouldn't you know? That was about 1999. We built the Aon insurance website, which was the first time they'd done it. We worked out of their office in Stoke-on-Trent, which is a place you never want to visit. Okay, maybe KB or even Bullish Bull might know about Stoke-on-Trent. It's somewhere that the train goes through when you're going somewhere else. Okay, the best thing to come out of Stoke is the motorway or the railway line, either one, or the canal for that matter. But yeah, we did a lot of work with Aon, and now 27 years later, they're now settling insurance premiums on the blockchain. This is adoption. This is, in real time, history being made. Never forget that. Now, this is the price of oil that everybody has been getting their knickers in a twist about. People telling us that oil was going to go to $150, $200. It's $87 a barrel. Yes, of course it's higher than $60, $70 a barrel, which I think that's its fighting weight. I think that's what oil should be. If you go back over a longer period of time, you will find there was a period of time when I think it was down at about $30 or $40 a barrel. Yeah, around here. This is where I bought oil. Was that recent? I thought I bought it a lot sooner than that. Maybe it was back here. Anyway, I bought oil when it was at $30 to $40 a barrel. I thought it was undervalued. 60 to 70 for me. If you look along here, that's kind of the price it should be. We've had a wick up, but let's not forget COVID. COVID spiked to $112, $120. Are we in a situation which is as bad as COVID? In my opinion, absolutely not. This is a storm in a teacup. It's a very big storm in a teacup, but it's a storm in a teacup, and this too shall pass. Good morning, Solo Sky. I hope you are well. I hope you're well indeed. Now, US Treasury says crypto mixers can have legitimate privacy uses on public blockchains. I wholeheartedly disagree with this. I do not think there is any place in the universe for crypto mixers. I think they are a slight and a stain on society. And that is just the way I am, because I think it's going to do more harm than good. It's a net negative rather than a net positive, so I don't agree with that. Now, Cardano is now connected to the entire crypto ecosystem. Charles says, for the most part, Cardano is now connected to the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. We can bear great fruits from that. There he is, the man himself. We are reaching out to Charles. We are going to try and get Charles on the show, but it's a bit difficult because everybody wants to speak to Charles. The same way everybody wants to speak to Ben, but Ben runs a tight ship. Dana over there runs a tight ship. They're great at what they do. Charles is a bit more difficult to get hold of. We want to get Charles on the show. We want him to talk to the Binance community about why Cardano can be something that they can invest in. But he's a hard man to get hold of. Now, I have been commenting on quite a few different posts about Cardano that are up at the minute. We're going through a bullish phase of talking about Cardano. They've made all the right noises, and now they've made all the right moves. But it's going to take time for those moves to play out. The stable coins, yes, amazing. DeFi and real-world assets, yes, amazing. Interoperability, yes, amazing. Bitcoin DeFi, yes, amazing. Show me them working in action, and then I will become the biggest Cardano bull known to mankind. President Trump considers taking over the Strait of Hormuz, opening access to oil routes, CBS reports. Now, what I think is going to happen here, he's going to take it over, and he's going to call it the Strait of Melania. That's my prediction, okay? He's going to rename it. He doesn't like that word, Hormuz. I think he's going to call it the Strait of Melania, the same way that he's called it the Gulf of America. I don't believe this is actually what is going to happen, by the way. It's just not. I don't think it's possible for them to control that entire stretch of water without putting their entire fleet there. Bitcoin is on the rise. It absolutely is. Relief rallies are needed in the market. Nothing goes up or down forever. Now, this is this is probably the last of the couple of tweets that we're going to go through now. Solana. We're bullish on Solana. We're more bullish on Solana than maybe we are on Cardano, but we're still bullish on both. Now, Solana, this is interesting. Solana is down 57% since the ETFs launched in July. They launched too late for the bull run. I said this from the beginning of last year. It's about timing. I wanted the XRP and Solana ETFs live in March or April. It never happened. We got them late July. We only really had 2 months before the bull market top. Why is that important? Because every single time an ETF has gone live, Grayscale's dumped it. XRP, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Grayscale has dumped. Suppressed the price a little bit, yes. Then we've had a compound effect because we've had the end of the bull run, we've had the correction to the downside. Solana is now at very, very good prices. But the interesting thing here that Eric and James have been talking about, this here is what I want to draw your attention to. If there's one thing you take away from this stream today, it's this. If you adjust the size of Solana versus Bitcoin, it's the equivalent of 54 billion in new flows into Solana, which is double what Bitcoin was doing at this point. Bitcoin was up a ton at that time versus down 57%. Anyhow, pretty impressive numbers given the size and conditions of the underlying market. What do I say to you all the time? Don't look at the numerical amount of money coming into Ethereum and Solana and XRP, because that is not going to tell you the story. Look at the percentage of what is flowing in. With Bitcoin, it's the elephant, it's the mammoth, it's the alpha, okay? You have to adjust the inflows to take into account the size of Bitcoin versus the size of Solana. And when you do that, you realize that these new ETFs, the XRP and Solana ETFs, they're doing better than Bitcoin did. Bitcoin brought the adoption, okay? It went through those hard yards. Now you've got the Solanas and XRPs of the world benefiting from it, because it's not about numbers and computers. It's about people selling these products. It's people getting used to selling a Bitcoin ETF. Then an Ethereum comes along. They've got to learn a little bit about Ethereum, and then Solana and XRP come along, and then they're old hats. We're 2 years down the line now. Now it's a case of they phone their clients, hey Jill, I've got a new ETF for you. You know the Bitcoin one you've got and the Ethereum one? Yeah, we've got two really good ones now. We've got XRP and we've got Solana. Brilliant. I'll have $100,000 of each. Job done. That very first call to Jill, listen, Jill, I've got this Bitcoin ETF. Is that a cryptocurrency? Yes, Jill, but you've got to bear with me. This is going to be big. That first phone call broke the ice. Now it's a lot easier for these to flow in. So Solana and XRP ETFs, do not shade or fade or whatever the modern term is for these, because these are going to drive, not now, but over the next few years, it's going to drive the price of Solana and XRP up. Now, this is my final comment. Do not FOMO every relief rally. Those telling you we're going over $100,000 on Bitcoin are the same people telling you this is still a bull run. It's not a bull run. The bull run finished in October. Early, by my estimations, but still finished in October. This is the midterm years. Stocks and crypto will not do very well. We will likely see a 10% correction in the stock market. The bear market territory is now, and this is a relief rally. We will not go to $120,000 in the foreseeable future, but we will go back there. We will probably break it. Maybe we go to $170,000 or $180,000 in the next bull run. But if we do go to $180,000 and we do fall to $50,000 or $60,000, then you're 3xing your money on the safest crypto bet there is, which is Bitcoin. I'm just going to tell you these things. I also put a tweet out today just to give you a little bit of history that I do not just do these things. If we go down here, I didn't quite call the top of one of the bull runs, one of the prices in August last year, but I did call it out, which was this. August the 28th, take profits. August the 29th was the all-time high in 2025 for this token. And I basically said take profits the day before the all-time high on that price. So I do have a history of telling you to take profits. And the reason is, it's all well and good sitting there on your bags of cash. But those bags of cash are volatile. Now, if you are up from, let's take XRP for example. Let's say you bought XRP at 40 or 50 cents. And let's say in this relief rally we get now, it goes up to, I don't know, 180, 190, $2. You've 4x'd your money from where you were. If we know we're going to have a summer lull and maybe the price comes down to 120 or $1 or 90 cents, it's still not a bad idea to take some profits. You're up 400% in the last 2 or 3 years. You can still take profits in relief rallies. You can still make profits now. If we do go up another, I don't know, 10%, 5% from where we are now, you can take some profits. It's not a criminal offence to take profits. You are not, you're not becoming bearish on the market if you take some profits. Now, Arthur Hayes assesses the impact of a US-Iran war on Bitcoin and crypto and says we're in a no-trade zone. Now, this is the man who sold the bottom and bought the top of Ethereum in the last bull run. We all make mistakes. Okay, nobody is infallible, certainly not Arthur Hayes, but I like Arthur. I think it's good to have different voices in crypto. You can't listen to Michael Saylor all the time. You can't listen to Ben Cowan all the time. You need different people's opinions because they can shape your own. Now, he has said that the events are increasing uncertainty and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies don't like uncertainty. At this point, the co-founder of BitMEX, Arthur Hayes, says the developments taking place around the world and their impact on the crypto market stated that the currently a great deal of uncertainty in the markets. It's impossible to predict how long a war between US and Iran will last. Therefore, a longer war is already priced in. This is kind of what I was saying yesterday. The beginning of the war has been priced in, but the end of the war hasn't, in my opinion. Now, scenario goes like this. If you don't read the news and you look at the Bitcoin chart, we're going to go up to 74, 80 or 85,000. We are then going to be rejected at one of those levels, bull market support band 80,000 psychological or 74,000 where we came last time. Then we're going to come down lower probably than where we came down in February or January, whenever it was, when we came down to 60,000. Where we go below there is anybody's guess. I've got 50,000-ish. I think the Oracle's got 55,000, but around that number. Now, all of that we've talked about since January, since the war began, since anybody mentioned the war. That's what we talked about. So the Iran problem is this, because that's the name of the show today. The Iran problem is this. We look for reasons why crypto moves. And it's never one reason. And we talked about this before. Bowling for Columbine, I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. We look for one reason why the market is doing what it's doing. Oh, it's the war. Oh, it's COVID. Now, in all due respect, COVID did take the market by surprise. Of course it did. The entire world shut down. But that's the first time it's happened in forever. Probably since the Spanish flu. So we can have black swans. But this was a telegraphed event. We knew this was going to happen weeks before it happened. So yes, the market's priced it in. The markets have already priced in no rate cuts. The markets read what's happening. But there's also patterns in play. The midterm year is not a good year. It hasn't been a good year for the last 40, 50, 60 years. So if we just ignore all the noise and look at the facts are we're going to go up and then we're going to come down further than we did. I said that in January before we got to this stage. Now, what the war might do, it might create a worse macro environment and maybe we come lower. Maybe we go to $40,000. Ben Cowan has said $40,000. He's also said that oil normally runs up before the end of a business cycle. So there's probably a lot of weight to be taken into account with that. But saying that this is going to directly impact Bitcoin, and it's the only reason why Bitcoin is doing this, is taking out the cyclical effect of the midterm year, the cyclical effect of the 4-year cycle of the President of America, the monetary cycle. All of these things have an effect, but we can't just put one blame and say this is the reason why it's happening. The same way you can't blame kids going bowling. It's unclear how long it will last. It could be a long one. I'm currently in an observation position. These are the places to take action. However, central banks could step in. When central banks start providing liquidity again, a surge in risky assets like Bitcoin could begin. And again, maybe that is being priced in. Now, I did include this to kind of show you the way that institutions are kind of working. Hello there. Welcome to you. Right. I'll answer the questions in a minute. After we finish this, I'll go and read some questions and see what people have had to say. This is the HODL 15 Capital account. And what they do is they monitor all the kinds of flows of Bitcoin. Now, what's important to understand is on the left, you have Bitcoin mined. That's it. That's the amount of Bitcoin that is being produced on a monthly basis. And it's coming in about 14,000 a month. Then you have the ETFs, then you have MicroStrategy, and then you have other public companies that are also buying Bitcoin. For the majority of its time, we have seen the ETFs absolutely devour the Bitcoin supply. Except in November, December, January and February, they didn't. We've had 4 solid months of outflows. March, we've seen a green month for the first time since October. And it's a fairly decent green month so far. MicroStrategy, however, just don't stop buying, okay? And what I want to draw your attention to is at the very bottom, I need to bring it up because I'm on the left nowadays, aren't I? 415,000 Bitcoin have been mined since the beginning of 2024, so roughly two and a bit years. In that time, there has been 1.4 million Bitcoin bought by the ETFs, strategy, and other public companies. Okay, now, if we want to sit here and say ETFs have not had an effect on the price of Bitcoin, there are 691,000 reasons why they have. Okay, because they have bought over 0.5% of the total supply. No, they haven't. They've bought 5% of the total supply, something like that. I don't know, whatever it is, 4 or 5%. But the issue is that this cannot continue. And this is the supply shock I've been talking about forever and a day. At some point, if more are being bought than are being created, and consistently now for the last 2 years, we are seeing that. If we are having 1.4 million being bought and 400,000 being produced, we have 1 million Bitcoin gone from the supply. That supply is on exchanges. We've got charts about that. At some point, this breaks the price of Bitcoin to the upside, and massively so, because this cannot continue the way it's going. Now, yes, this has been the biggest sell-off in history, but if you look, 33, 36, 72,000 were sold by the ETFs in that period. MicroStrategy alone bought 63, 72, 77. So MicroStrategy alone bought while the ETF sold. Now, they balanced each other off, so that demand wasn't there. It was net neutral. But just bear this in mind. Whenever we talk about Bitcoin, whenever we talk about things that are having a positive or a detrimental effect, think about the fact that between all of these different companies, they're buying all of the Bitcoin. And at some point in the future, that's going to start to have a more dramatic effect on the price of Bitcoin than we have seen so far. And it's been a dramatic effect so far. Now, before we get onto this article about Tom Lee. Now, Tom Lee, I'm going to be honest, his nuts are in a vice, okay? His nuts are in a vice. He is presently sitting on the largest deficit of anyone who has ever invested in the history of the world, not just crypto. He is down $8 billion. And I think that's the record, or it was the record. Anyway, good morning to you. I can't pronounce some names, I do apologize. Good morning, Binance Square. I hope you're well. Do you think about the bull run cycle over, or is it not yet started? No risk, no reward has asked, do I think the bull run cycle is over or not yet started? We are in the midterm year. This is traditionally the bear market year. If you go back to 2022 and 2018, we kind of are going to be following the same pattern. We're going to come out of it probably by November, and then 2027 will reflect 2023, which is kind of like where it was more of an accumulation zone. And then the end of 2023, we started to really take off. So by the end of 2027, maybe September, October next year, we should probably start to be looking at Bitcoin being a lot higher than it is now, in my opinion. I'm not saying we're going to break all-time highs, but I think we'll be a lot higher. So this is your accumulation zone. You can make money in crypto in any market. But if you're buying and holding, this is the time to be thinking about dollar cost averaging in over the next probably 12 months, maybe even 18 months, definitely. What else do we have in here? Sahir, I hope you are well. Muzamid, I hope you are well. We do have a question on the other channel as well. Hello, I am new. Can you give me some hint or book to get information on how to trade and get profit? We are not really that kind of channel, but if you watch the crypto trading channel streams that we do with the Oracle, he will probably be streaming on Thursdays. He hurt his back, so he didn't stream yesterday. He'll probably be streaming on Thursday. Ask him, come back on Thursday and ask him, and he will be able to help you. Now then, let's go back to where we were. Now, we are at the end of the mini crypto winter, he says, giving a price and date for the ETH bottom. The largest institutional Ethereum bull, Bitmain, announced last week it had purchased an additional 70,000. There he is. His nuts are in a vice. Okay, he's deep. Now, if you think he looks bad there, wait until Ethereum comes down to about $1,400 or $1,500. He's going to look like he's been taking a Zempic. His suit's going to be scuffed. He's probably going to have tears or bags under his eyes, and he is going to get a hammering. Okay, and people are going to start talking about the fact that he's 10 billion in the drain, 12 billion in the drain, and it's going to just get worse. But he will still accumulate Ethereum. That's the key. People have done the same thing with Michael Saylor over the years. We're going to liquidate him at $50,000. No, we're not. The same with Tom Lee. Bitcoins and altcoins experienced a price pullback last week after their sharp recovery. The pullback did not stop Bitcoin and Ethereum bulls' strategy in Bitmain, and both companies were made additional purchases. Bitmain, the largest institutional Ethereum bull, announced last week it purchased an extra 70,000 ETH. So they now hold 4.5 million ETH. And there we go. That's 3.76% of the circulating supply. Decent. If Saylor, what does Saylor have? Saylor's got 780,000 Bitcoin. So he's closing in on, I can't do the numbers in my head today, he's closing in on 4% as well. So similar strategies by both. The average price of the Bitmain ETH is $1,965. Okay, this is not a problem right now. This is a problem at $1,200 and $1,300 if we go down that far, because he is going to be in the hole. Now, quickly, off the top of my head, he will be in the hole by about 12 billion, I think. Something like that. And again, I don't really care, and you shouldn't care, because I don't think this is actually going to cause the market to look negatively on Ethereum. And I do think in the long term, when we're looking at a $5,000 or $6,000 Ethereum. I think Tom Lee will be looked at in the same light as Michael Saylor, and Michael Saylor and Tom Lee will be looked at like they are some modern day Warren Buffets. Neither of them are Warren Buffets. They are buying Bitcoin and Ethereum with your money. Anyway, the price path and correlation coefficient for the two periods are 89% and 93%. If the similarity between Ethereum and the S&P index continues, it's likely ETH will form a bottom below its recent low of 1740 between 8 and 14. So he thinks that we are going to come down to between 8 and 14. I think we're going to go a lot lower than $1,700, in my opinion. Anyway, he concluded by stating that no one had predicted the bottom, which is where the company accelerated its ETH purchases. Again, I think with Tom Lee, he's done nothing but be a bull for the entirety of his time in crypto. He goes on, he talks about it being the bottom. It isn't the bottom. He talks about us going up continually. I think he talked about a $30,000 ETH. He was talking about a $60,000 ETH at one point. I mean, he is the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. And you have to take everything they say with a pinch of salt. If your entire existence depends on the price of something going up, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, you are never going to sit there and say it's going to go to $1,000. You're never going to do that. Same with Cathie Wood, same with CZ, same with anybody you want to talk about. Vitalik doesn't mention the price ever, but that's fine. They're never going to sit there and say, you know what, I think we're going to go to $800 for Ethereum. I think that's what we're going to drop to. I think that's it. They're never going to say that. They're always going to say, this is the bottom. Then the war will happen and Ethereum goes to 1,500. Yeah, well, that was the bottom, but now we've got the war, so I think 1,500 is the bottom. And then something happens and Trump decides to go after... Where is he going after next? Is it Cuba? I think he's going after Cuba next. So then Ethereum goes down to $1,300. Ah, well, now you see, it would have been $1,750 apart from Iran and apart from Cuba. You can't defend your position by pointing at arbitrary events and saying that's the reason we got to $1,300 and $1,200. It's the cycle that we are in. Anyway, and I'm doing two things now, which I'm pretty excited about going through because I wanted to talk about them. And this is the first one. And I talked about this yesterday. And what we talked about yesterday was look for companies that make profit. So the chap that's just come into the chat and basically said, how do I trade? What I would be doing, and again, I'm not a rocket scientist. Don't hold me to this. This is not financial advice. Let me make sure you can see. Can you actually see what I have on my screen right now? Or is it cut off? You've got the 7-day. So you haven't got the 30-day. Right. Okay. I'm trying to work out. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go through it. This is the top protocols ranked by revenue. In English, these are the companies that make the most money. Okay? This is a completely different list to this one. This is the list of top cryptocurrencies. This is the list of cryptocurrencies or crypto projects that make the most money. They are not the same. Okay, have some of the similar names. Tether is number 1 here, Circle is number 2, Tether is number 3 here, Circle is number 6. So there is some similarities, but not 100%. Now, if you were looking at the stock market and I said to you, go and buy 10 companies, what would you do? Would you look at how nice their logo is? Would you look at how nice the beard is of the CEO? Would you look at the guy who's got the glasses on that goes on CNBC and says it's going to go to $60,000? Or do you go and look at how much revenue it turns over? Let's wait for this to come up. There, we're back. You're going to look at how much money the company makes. You're going to look at how much profit the company makes. Of course you are. So why is it when you look at this chart, you throw all of those ideas in the bin? Do you know how much Dogecoin makes? I've got no idea. Do you know how much Cardano makes? I've got no idea. Why? Why don't you know how much money those chains make? Why don't you know how much those protocols make? Because if they don't make any money, they will cease to exist. Like the parrot in Monty Python. Okay? They will cease to be. This is the most important list of cryptocurrencies for that purpose. The revenue generating list. The ones that make the money. Tether did $490 million in 30 days. Circle, $193 million in 30 days. Hyperliquid, which is only ranked down here at 12th position. They are third. They've made $53.7 million in that time. That's $2 million a day. Multiply that out, what's that? $750 million a year, nearly $1 billion of revenue, and it's ranked 12th. And what's above it? Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Dogecoin. Why is it ranked down there then? If it's the, what is it? The third highest revenue generating company in crypto, why is it ranked 12th? What puts all of these projects above it? Now, certainly you can argue that the market is based on potential. You can say, well, XRP doesn't do that yet, but it will do. You could say the same thing about Amazon in the past, Netflix in the past. Absolutely, of course you can. There are other reasons for them to be there, but when it comes down to brass tacks, you want to buy projects that make money. Now, other things that are up here. Pump, vilified by everybody. It's ruined Solana. It's the fourth highest revenue generating project in crypto. Tron, Grayscale is up there. Sky, which was MakerDAO, which I think is like a DeFi platform that we've covered before. EdgeX, I bet even some of these projects you've never heard of. Some of these companies you've never heard of. And there, in 10th position, we have Jupiter. The worst project on Solana. The worst team in Solana. They've dumped on their community. Blah, 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 blah. They are making $10 million a month. $120 million a year. And they are ranked 10th. Okay? Phantom, the wallet, is in 11th position. We can go on. Aerodrome, on base. Most of you have probably never even heard of Aerodrome. I've been telling you, anything under $1 for Aerodrome is an absolute bargain. And there it is in 13th position. Is Base going to become a bigger chain in the future? 100%. What's the biggest revenue generating project on Base? Aerodrome. You've then got Aave. The largest DeFi protocol in the world is sitting there. So just to put this into context, Jupiter is bigger than Aave. In terms of revenue generation, this list does not run well against the top list of cryptocurrencies. The list of cryptocurrencies that we have today still has a hangover from 4 years ago when Litecoin was still the second or third biggest protocol, or layer one in the world. It's still in the top 30, I believe. Down here, you've got Titan. You've got Polygon down here in 19th position. You've got Chainlink in 20th position. You have really, really solid projects that make money on this list. And they are nowhere to be seen. They're down here. Give me 1 second. There we go. Just waiting for it to load. There we go. So Jupiter, is in 72nd position for the 10th largest revenue generating project in crypto, and it's ranked 72nd. Filecoin, Aptos, Quant, Render. Look at Pump, 68th. What's going on? I can tell you right now that if you buy a random collection of the top 20 from here, they will outperform a random collection of the top 20 out of this list over a long period of time. As long as they continue to grow and grow their revenue, they will succeed and they will start to appear up here. I guarantee you the likes of Pump, maybe, the likes of Dupe, the likes of Chainlink, they will outlive Doge. But Doge is ninth. Why is it ninth? Oh, because it's the OG meme coin. That is no reason for it to have a $14.5 billion market cap. No reason at all. Anyway, what I'm going to do with that list, or that list of revenue generating protocols, I'm going to drop it into Binance Square later on after the stream, so you can go and have a look at it. And I'm also going to put it onto the TG group that I can't ever mention the name of because I'm not allowed to do that, which is fine. I'm going to put it there so everyone can go and have a look at the same list that I have got access to, because that is only fair. At the end of the day, I am giving you my opinion on publicly available information, and that's how you should read it. This is my opinion. It's not your opinion. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm giving you my opinion. That is absolutely vital for you to understand. Now then, let's move on. 11:45, and we've still got 4 articles to go. Somebody has been talking too much today on the stream. Now, before we go on, let me go and check messages, make sure everybody was here. Everyone's looking at different trades, which is great to see. XRP is good. Aave, yep, solid project to look at. Nasrul, MD Rock is looking at the ETH trade. Crypto, Dominic looking at the ETH trade. Has China completed work on quantum computing? No, it has not. WLFI coin, I think I mentioned yesterday. I think they're trying to support the price at 10 cents, 9 cents, 10 cents. I think they're going to try and keep it up there. It was falling. I don't know if you remember, it was falling away. And then the price pumped to the upside. So I think they're going to try and support the token at about those prices. Now then, let's move on very quickly. Now, this is the second interesting article. If we don't get to the rest of the articles, it's fine. These are the important things that I want to get across. This is the best passive income strategies for crypto holders in 2026. When we talk about taking profits, it doesn't mean having a bag of USDC and just sitting there and watching it and then just waiting for the right moment to dollar cost average in. It means putting your money to work while you're waiting for the market to get to the price you want to get in at. Now, there are many ways to earn, both in crypto and in stables. In fact, the one article we will absolutely do is the stablecoin and CBDC article. So what we're likely to do, we'll do this yield farming article, we'll do the 5-year XRP prediction from Brad, and then Mags wants to know about the Sonic stablecoin. We're going to talk about that in the stablecoin article as well. So we'll do 3. I think we've got plenty of time for that. Now, we're not going to read all the bump. We don't care about that. We're going to talk about these things. You've got various different ways to invest in crypto. You have flexible savings. So, for example, USD1 on Binance pays 6, 7, 8% right now. Their USDC and USDT, sometimes they pay 4, 5, 6%. That is pretty decent, and that's if you just want to sit on some cash and have it waiting there for you. Okay, that is probably my preferred method of having cash. Your other option is to get Syrup USDC or Syrup USDT, whichever one is available on Binance or whichever chain you're on. That will pay you 4.5%, 4.4%, and you don't have to do anything with it. You literally have it in your account and it will accrue value each day. Now, your fixed one, this is the one which is, I wouldn't advise this one, and that's to lock your money up, and you get higher rates. The reason I wouldn't do this one, about April, May last year, maybe June last year, I unstaked all of my ETH that had been staked since 2023, maybe. I unstaked it knowing that I would probably need to liquidate it if it got to the prices that I wanted it to get to. So I unstaked it, and then we did some articles in September. ETH had like a 90-day removal period. It was taking forever, blah, blah, blah. The same thing applies to stablecoins. If you lock your stablecoins up for the next 12 months, next 12 months, and let's say Bitcoin goes to $40,000 from here, so it drops whatever that is, 75%. No, it doesn't drop 75%. I wouldn't lock ETH away. I wouldn't lock Bitcoin away. I wouldn't lock all of these things away. It's just not the right thing to do. What is going on with this internet connection? It keeps telling me I'm disconnected and reconnecting, and I don't know why. We're going to have to change the software that we use to stream with. This is just pain in the backside. Now, this is the next one to look at, which is proof of stake assets. So the likes of Solana, Cardano, Ethereum, they are proof of stake. You can lock these away. Now, what I would say about this is, if you are on Cardano or Solana, you know you've got an epoch, which is about 3 to 5 days to get your money out. I would be quite happy to lock my Solana and ADA away for that amount of time. ETH is a different kettle of fish. If you want to trade your ETH within a week, you have to look at a flexible alternative. So Binance has got them, many others have got them, where you'll earn 2 or 3%. Solana and ADA you're okay with, but ETH you're not. You could be in a situation where, let's say ETH goes to $3,000 in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You go to release that ETH to sell it from proof of stake, you're going to have to wait 28 days. By the time you unlock it, ETH could be back down at $2,000. You then go to restake it again, and you can't because there's a 4-week waiting list. So ETH is the problem. So I personally would not use proof of stake for Ethereum, but I would use it for the majority of others, especially the likes of Solana, Sui as well. Certainly look at that. But there's no reason you can't earn while you're waiting for the moment for you to enter the market, whether it be through earning 4 or 5% on your stables, whether it be earning 5 or 6% on your Solana or 3% on your ADA. There's no reason you can't be earning while you're waiting. My ADA, for example, is locked up in 2 different places, both on chain. My Solana is locked up. Actually, no, my Solana isn't locked up. My Solana is in liquid staking on Camino Finance, and I think it's earning about 13%. So my Solana's really performing very, very well. And as I start to dollar cost average into Solana and build that up, hopefully when we come out the other end and we see a $200 or $300 Solana, all of my $60, $70 buys will work out for the best. But the last one on here is liquid staking, and this is where you get a synthetic version of your asset. So whether that be MSOL, whether that be what's it called, STETH, I think it's called. Just let me check one thing. Perfect. So look at stuff like that. Again, there's others down here which I don't want to talk too much about because I don't want to complicate things, such as yield farming on actual protocols like Aave. I don't want to go into too much about that because it's not a that kind of show. But this one, stablecoin pairs can sometimes pay you more than simply holding them in Syrup USDC or another one like Ethena. You can earn sometimes 8 or 10% on your stablecoins if you look at that. Now, there is no, I can never say this word, impairment loss by doing USDC, USDT, but also you're not going to be earning 20 to 30%. You're going to be earning 5, 6, 7, 8%. You only want to be looking at that when the yield on the likes of Binance really starts to drop, in my opinion. But the takeaway from this is, if you've got assets that are just sitting in your account on Binance, have a look at the available options to earn from them. Passive earning is a way for you to accumulate a few percentage points more while you're waiting for any possible move. And it's the same with XRP, for example. Let's take XRP. If there's a 90-day product available on XRP and we start to come down again below $60,000 and you want to hold on to your XRP, you lock it away for 90 days, fine. But if we're talking about the end of 2027 when we're starting to run up, and you might want to sell your XRP to buy Bitcoin, for example, you don't want to be locking it up for 90 days at that point. It's all about timing. It's all about getting it right. Now then, Ripple's 5-year goal. Brad Garlinghouse forecasts XRP investors will be very happy within. Full leaders discuss blockchain adoption and tokenization. Their message centered on steady growth. Institution. What is going on here? Their message is centered on growth, institutional use, and the need for patience. Sorry, I'm getting just loads of connect and disconnect messages, and I'm not too sure why. I think everything is up and running and working. It is. So, he's got a 5-year plan. And the 5-year plan is to basically grow XRP into the one-stop shop for all things to do with cross-border payments, CBDCs, and everything else. And that is the plan. The market is at 2.4 trillion. He suggests it could rise above 5 trillion. Previously, he suggested this. Banks, payment firms, financial platforms are testing blockchain services. What I would say, and I'm going to cut this short because I want to talk to Mags about Sonic. In fact, what we'll do is I'm going to bring up the 2 bits of news. One is about CBDCs and stablecoins, and the other one is about Sonic. Sonic, is it USDD? Is that what it's called? I'm sure it's called US. There we go. So this is the stablecoin from Sonic. This is the article about stablecoins and CBDCs. So this will be the last thing we can talk about. We've only got 3 minutes left of the show. Again, we try and keep these to an hour. So we're going to go through this. CBDCs are central bank digital currencies. They are controlled by the central bank of your country. That's what they are. A stablecoin is a predominantly dollar debt backed one-for-one digital version of a dollar controlled by a private enterprise. Circle or Tether are the 2 biggest ones. Now, that's kind of where we come from. People don't want a government to control their money. That's what CBDC is. But people don't understand that Circle and Tether can freeze assets. If you've got $100,000 worth of Tether in your wallet and a government says that you've stolen it, for example, Tether can freeze it and you can't do anything with it. Tether has complete control over its stablecoin. So does Circle. People don't understand this. People don't appreciate this, but it's a fact. And yes, you can get other stable coins that are uncensorable. Yes, you can hold it in Bitcoin, which is also uncensorable. But I think people forget that both Circle and Tether can freeze your assets. Same as a CBDC in that respect. So America has rejected CBDCs for the very reason that it might be the Republicans in power today, but it could be the Democrats in power in 4 years' time. It could be the Democrats in power for the next 20 years. And the issue is that when you give a government control over money to this degree, you don't think about what could happen today. You think about what could happen in the future. Take COVID, for example. How many of you, if I'd have said to you 5 years ago, the government is going to lock you away in your house for 6 months and you're not going to be allowed out for more than an hour a day. You're not going to be allowed within 6 foot of each other. And you're not going to be able to go to work. If I said that to you 5 or 6 years ago, you would think I was a lunatic. You would have said, what is he talking about? What is Mike going on about? He's some kind of Candace Owens, what's it called? Rabbit hole conspiracy theorist. That's what you'd be saying to yourself. Wow, it happened. CBDCs are the same thing. Don't think about what could happen with them today. Think about what could happen if the wrong people got control over them. Those wrong people could find out that you support, I don't know, the Labour Party. They freeze all of your accounts. We don't like the Labour Party. They've been prescribed as a terrorist organisation. So we're going to stop you from giving donations to the Labour Party. They crush the opposition, okay? Or they might go after you based on your preferences, your male-female preferences, your musical preferences, all of these things. It's not about today, it's about the future. And America have said no. Europe isn't going to say no. Europe's going to say yes. And that fills me with dread. I don't want to see it in the UK. I don't want to see it in Europe. I don't want to see it anywhere. Anything that is controlled by a government can be controlled by politics. And that is a terrible thing to happen. Australia is going to go to the dogs when they bring this in. Absolutely. Now, that's the difference between the two. One is controlled by a private enterprise. One can be controlled by a government. I don't trust either of them because these companies, Circle and Tether, they're both US based. They can both have the political might pushed upon them. Look at the Biden administration and Facebook. Facebook was told to censor all opposition to alternative comments on things. Facebook complied. Do you honestly think if the Democrats win, they won't be able to apply pressure to Circle and Tether? Of course they will. So it doesn't mean that it's going to happen in the near future, but it's the possibility of it happening. Now, that's that in the bin. Next one, and the last thing we're going to talk about is this. Sonic, Cardano, Sui, all of these kind of blockchains which are not top tier, they're not the Ethereums, they're not the Binance Smart Chains, they're not the Solanas. They're like the pretenders. They're the ones that want to join the big packs. What do you need on your chain for your chain to be a success? You need two things. You need users and you need liquidity. If you look at the reasons that the majority of things die, it's liquidity. They don't have any money on the chain. There's nothing there. Sonic came back with a blast. Okay? The guy that runs Sonic is a legend. He came back. He changed it from Phantom to Sonic. He put all of these new policies in place for protocol, revenue shares, all of these kind of things. And it was absolutely flying. And then it just stopped. Now, I think it stopped because of liquidity issues. Nobody was moving the money over there. So this gives Sonic a chance. Cardano getting its own stablecoin gives Cardano a chance. And that's all it is. It's a chance. Any movement in the price of Cardano or Sonic in the very, very short term is based on speculation. If Sonic and Cardano are really going to become top table layer ones, they are going to have to prove it in the field of battle. They're going to have to get attention. They're going to have to get dApps to build and have DeFi over there and have attractive, products. That's what they need. You can have the best restaurant in the world, but if you don't tell people what's on your menu, you're not going to get many people in there. Sonic needs to have several really good products over there, as does Cardano. Look at Solana. Solana has, off the top of my head, Jupiter, an incredible DEX. Orca and Radium, incredible, sorry, not DEX, aggregator. Orca and Radium, incredible DEXs. You've got Meteora over there. You have Camino Finance, top dogs when it comes to all things to do with yield farming. That's what Solana's got. Ethereum, we don't even have to look past Aave. What does Sonic bring to the table? What does Cardano bring to the table? It doesn't bring anything without USSD. It doesn't. And that's the key. You need to see, and I'm not expecting them to have billions and billions of USSD. A few 100 million in USSD will be enough to oil the cogs on Sonic, in my opinion. Now, I still have a bag of Sonic, and I think I bought it, I don't know, was it about 20 or 30 cents? And what's it worth now? About 3. Again, it's going to give them a fighting chance. And that's all we can ask for, is a fighting chance. What we need to see now is we need to see the product that will sit there and allow you to earn yield or stake or whatever it might be on Sonic. And value needs to be added to that chain. And that's what's next. This is just a case of, you know, you run a bar in the 1980s and you don't accept credit cards. And now you do accept credit cards. It doesn't make you a better bar, but it makes you more accessible. This is the equivalent of that. They've given themselves a fighting chance by having a stable coin. And it won't take long. You look at Solana. I've said this at least 10 times. 5, 6, 7 years ago, you traded against Sol. So you bought NFTs, you sold NFTs, you did it against Sol. You kept your funds in Sol. You didn't keep it in stable coins. Now you keep it in USDC or USDT. That change happened within 6 months. The same thing can happen to Cardano, and the same thing that can happen to Sonic. The other thing that Sonic needs to do and Cardano need to do, they need to get themselves on Phantom. They need to get themselves on proper wallets. I'm not a fan of MetaMask. I cannot stand it. I'm a massive fan of Sonic. A massive fan of Phantom. Massive fan of Cardano. I want to have all of my assets in one place on Phantom. That should be the next thing they do. Because if I want to go over and play with Sonic, I want to do it through Phantom. Or Trust Wallet. I want to do it through one of those. I don't want to sit there and go, right, I've now got to install another wallet just to go and play on Sonic. Why would I want to go and do that when I can go to Camino Finance or Jupiter or Meteora? And that's what they have to next overcome. But for me, gives them a fighting chance. Now then, we appear to have got to the end of the stream. I'm just going to check very quickly. Reese is in the chat. Good morning, Reese. Aquila is in chat. He's been looking at Dupe. Oruk has been looking at Aave. A lot of people have been looking at Aave, actually. It's not a bad shout. Anyway, we have got to the end of the stream. That is it. We are done. So, a bit of an update then on where we go next. We are streaming again, as far as I'm aware. The Oracle is streaming on Thursday. I might be streaming on Thursday. We've got no quiz tonight. The quiz, sorry, not tonight. Got no quiz tomorrow night. The quiz will be next Wednesday, so a week tomorrow, and that will be Wolfies. That will be the quiz next Wednesday, not tomorrow, next Wednesday. And I am not back tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing videos. We are still waiting on the Shure microphones and the diffuse lights. So the lights are going to make me look better and not look like this. And the microphones are going to sound a lot clearer and a lot louder. This is a USB mic, for those of you who know stuff about this. This is a USB mic. It's a lovely mic. And that was a perfect example right there. I was just saying, this is a beautiful USB mic. I am going to get the Shure. It's going to tune to my voice. It's going to make me sound like an angel. That's what I was saying, KB. And thank you for letting me know. So they'll be here soon. Hopefully, I'll have them by next week. They've been stuck in Germany for a whole week. I thought the Germans were efficient. Absolutely not. We ordered them a week last Sunday. Today's Tuesday. That is 9/10 days. When we order from the UK, things take 2 days. 9 days from Germany so far. The other stuff that we've ordered, the diffuse lights, they're coming from the UK. We ordered them on Sunday. They're going to be sent to us on Thursday. We'll have them next week as well. So we should look a million times better. But I tell you what I do need. I think I need a shave. I think that's what I'm going to go and do now. Anyway, thank you all for watching. See you all probably Thursday, maybe with the Oracle. If not, I'll do a stream on Thursday morning as well. and take care and have a great Tuesday and don't worry too much. Bye-bye.